Hello, everyone. This is my first video or audio because you can't see my face. And I didn't really take any notes or anything, so I apologize in advance if my words are, all over the place. But this was a situation I just really could um, not express myself any longer with because it's kind of ridiculous at this point. So this young lady who was just killed by the police. Um, I guess my question is, she called the police after these girls came to her home to jump her. And being jumped, you can die from being jumped. That's a very imminent threat. And from my understanding, you have a right to stand your ground, at least in her state. I don't know if it's every state. I think you have to check, but in her particular state, you can stand your ground. She did so with a knife. She called the police and told them that they were coming to her house. So they already knew that there was a girl, a 15-year-old girl, who is in fear of her life. So when the police came on the scene, there was no, let me see who is the perpetrator, let me see who's the one who is defending themselves. He just bang 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 and shot. Now, let's just say some people are going to give him the benefit of the doubt because that's what everyone does, right? You give the cops, the ones who are supposed to be the professionals and the level-headed trained ones, but we'll give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Let's just say he didn't know the call was about a girl in distress because she's being jumped. So maybe there's a lot of girls. He may not be able to decipher who's who. So let's just assume he didn't know there was a girl who needed help, who was a 15-year-old girl that fit his description of the girl he shot. Let's just say he didn't know that. And he shot her. Did you have to shoot her in the chest, though? If you shoot a girl, she's going to pretty much fall to the ground. Now some men, I feel like you can shoot them and they got like some crazy strength. I don't know if it's because they be on drugs sometimes, but I can see, you may want to pump a couple more times for guys. But a young girl, you shoot her one time in the leg, the arm, wherever, she's going to drop. She's done. Okay, she's going to be halfway scared to death if she doesn't just die from her wound. But if not, she'll definitely be scared to death. So shoot her one time somewhere in the leg, the arm. You couldn't do that. But let's just say you couldn't do that and you missed or whatever. You hit her in the chest. But 4 times in the chest, though. 4 times. Was that necessary? And then on top of that, from my understanding, I don't know what was the context of the exchange, but to me, it does not match her. What was said? You are the professional. Okay, let me back up. So there was footage of the cop that shot the girl saying Blue Lives Matter. Now, if anyone lives in today's time, Blue Lives Matter is typically a racist response to Black Lives Matter, saying essentially, no, your lives don't matter, ours does. That's essentially what it says, like all the other whatever lives matter, right? So the fact that he said that right after he shot that girl, I don't care if somebody called him a pig, called him bacon bits, I don't care what anybody called him. You are the professional, and by you saying that, it's showing you may have some biases there. You may have some kind of prejudice or whatever that we may, that could be brought into question considering the circumstances. But no, you still got people, you got black people, black men and women who are actually defending this cop and saying, oh, the girl had a knife. Yeah, she had a knife. If somebody's coming to jump you, what are you going to do? You just going to sit there and just hope the cop comes and saves you? And you have to wait until the cop. So you mean when the cop gets there, you don't have the right to defend yourself anymore? So the cop shows up, you're supposed to just hope the cop is Superman and comes and swoops you out of safety or out of danger into safety real quick. And no, you have the right to defend yourself, period. You know what I'm saying? And if he didn't know who was who, because clearly he didn't, he should have confirmed that. Or at least shot somewhere that wasn't so fatal. Because he clearly didn't know what he was doing. Well, I won't say he didn't know what he was doing. I think he just shot a black girl and he didn't give a damn. That's what I think. But of course, he's going to spin it as, oh, I didn't know what was going on. I saw someone with a knife and I saved this other black girl. Okay. or black woman. I think she was a grown woman that she was fighting, which is a whole nother issue. And another issue is, why were there adults there allowing them to fight anyways? But that's, a whole nother level of toxicity, but that has nothing to do with the case. I mean, at that point, it's tragic, her situation, that they didn't protect her, because if they protected her, she wouldn't be out there fighting, wielding a knife. Okay? They would, whoever was supposed to protect her, what adult was supposed to protect her, was supposed to bring her butt in the hand. Now, if there's no adults there, things happen you can't control, but there were adults present that knew that girl, and y'all should have drug her in the house. Okay? But you didn't. Okay? But that's neither here nor there in this particular case. What matters is the fact that she was shot like a dog, and I don't believe she would have been shot like that if it was a white girl. A white 15-year-old girl, I don't think she would have shot and took her down. Okay? There are ways you can disarm people and not have everything be so fatal. And if it's not that way, then what can we do to change that? Because that's a problem for me, especially a girl. Now, I'm not saying it should be a gender thing or whatever, but I'm just saying, like, I just can't see how you thinking pumping 4 shots in a young girl's chest is reasonable, especially because she was standing her ground and she shouldn't have been shot in the first place. And all of you that support this cop should be ashamed of yourselves. And you should be excommunicated from the black community, as far as I'm concerned, or whatever you want to call the black, group of people that exists in this country. Like, it's shameful. And we went so hard for George Floyd, who was out of control, directly with the cops. And nobody ever said anything about that. Not one time. But this girl is standing her ground, and you got all these people that are just comfortable saying out loud that it was justified and the cop did the right thing. Wow. And many of you jump to conclusions and assume this girl deserved to be gunned down before you even knew the full story. But that's what black girls get. Black girls don't get the benefit of the doubt that maybe she was defending herself and she has a right to stand her ground, which means she does not have to retreat. Because a threat can come back at you. Even if they stop, they can come back. So you have the right to not retreat until you neutralize the threat. You have that right. And if you come to my house thinking you're going to jump me, oh, I'm going to have some heat for you, honey. But see, what I'm learning is, I guess I can't call the cops, though, can I? Because if I call the cops and I stand my ground as a black woman, they're going to just shoot me first and then ask questions later, right? That's essentially the message that we're sending here. Is if black women practice their Second Amendment right, whether it be a gun or a knife, I don't know, I'm assuming you can use a knife too, right? Stand your ground only for a gun? Or can you use a knife as well? So these are questions I have as a black woman. Can black women stand their ground? Okay, does that apply to us? If we can stand our ground, are we allowed to use knives as well, or do they have to be guns only? And if we stand our ground, should we call the police? And if we do call the police, what can we do to assure that they don't shoot us and kill us instead? And so if we can answer these questions, that would be great. And another question I have is to black people. As a black woman, do I get the benefit of the doubt and get your support and sympathy when opposing the police, like we give to black men? Or am I going to be treated as if I was some crazed hyena that needed to be put down? I just need to know how I'm going to be viewed, and that will kind of help me determine how I need to move moving forward. And I think these are great questions we need to ask. And if you don't like what you're hearing, ladies, black women, you may need to separate yourself from the black community because they don't mean you any good. They're either going to not protect you, and when you protect yourself, they blame you for it. So think about that, ladies, and see what people are saying. Okay? And that's all I have to say. Thank you.